Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry Springer.
Very nice. And you're clapping. I'm here and you're here, but we almost didn't have. I'm surprised you got here, Gene.
What happened, Gene?
You wouldn't tell the story.
Well, we had lunch today, Jerry
Gene
and I,
Where?
I paid.
No kidding.
at Lachey's.
Oh, nice place.
Nick and Drew Lachey's place
Yeah,
over the
downtown.
Rhine in Cincinnati,
Yes.
downtown
Good
Use
Cincinnati.
spot.
my name, they'll knock 50 cents off the bill.
That's right. So Megan, you know this, I'm very green, I'm very much conservationist. So I rode my bicycle, not motorcycle, bike over to where Jerry's hotel.
It's an electric bike, which makes
To
it
be fair,
easier.
right?
Okay, go ahead, sorry. You drove your bike.
Okay, I rode my bike at
Rode your
about
bike.
2/3 of my effort. No,
Yeah.
anyway, I go over there and I lock it to a tree actually in front of this hotel, and then I push the lock closed and I realize, dude, you don't have the key to unlock it. So,
So now,
And,
downtown Cincinnati, if those aren't, listening who aren't from this area, Fountain Square is like the major place. It's
major
the
place.
center of the city.
Yep.
And there's a tree across the street. You tie your bike up.
chain it up, big
and-
cable and a chain and a padlock.
And you didn't have the key.
I didn't have the key, and so I had to call my wife, and it was not a very easy conversation.
Could you come and get me?
Bring the key. Bring the key.
what
Bring the key.
Jerry saw from my side of the conversation when I hung up, he says, I bet you there's some history here. Because this call didn't go well.
May not be
This
this is not an
no.
isolated incident, I
No,
take it.
No.
So let's hear
You
that
have had to
backstory.
call Bonnie on other
Numerous
occasions.
occasions. I would say 3 occasions early in our marriage, I called her and said, and it was the truth, my car's been impounded. On 3 occasions, separated by months, 3 times. Because I just would park where the F I wanted to park.
So I
mean,
did that in college and got
Yeah.
grounded for it when I came home
Right.
in the summertime. You're an adult man.
I'm now an adult man.
Okay, all right, I'm just
Okay,
checking.
so she had to come. The 3rd time she came, she said, I'll see you probably tomorrow. And I didn't see her for a while because she was
so
really
ticked off.
pissed. Really
Well,
pissed.
because you're calling at
Yeah.
midnight, 1 in the morning.
And those first 3 times were daytime. They
Oh,
were on
oh,
her work hours, I thought.
Right in the
But
middle of her
anyway,
work day, she didn't have anything
yeah,
going
that's what I
on,
was thinking.
right?
No, then came the 4th time. The 4th time was about 11 o'clock at night. I was living in Cincinnati and across the river where we are, northern Kentucky. I got stopped by the police. I was speeding. I had this sports car, MG. I mean, it wasn't like exotic sports car like Jerry drives Maserati, for example. I had never been in a Maserati. But anyway, I got stopped.
And you won't be.
And these
Ever.
and these 2 cops say to me, I said, well, they said, you're speeding, and here's the speed you were going. And I said, well, that's fine, officers. I apologize. Give me the ticket, and we'll go on from here. And they said, well, no, you have to give us bond money. I said, bond money? What are you talking about? I says, well, people from Cincinnati never come back to court. We've learned years ago.
Oh, wow.
You pay the bond money. And I said, how much is the bond money? And the guy said $50. This was 1972. That was a lot of money in the day. And I
Yeah.
carry usually
That's
about
about a month.
$5 with me
Yeah, that's a month's pay for you.
for about a month's pay. And I said, well, I looked at my wallet and I said, well, I don't have that. So I don't know. What do you want? My driver's license? They says, no, if you don't have that, you're going to jail. I said, can't go to jail. I got to work tomorrow.
He's a teacher.
Yeah.
He
So he
was
said,
a
lock your car. They put me in the back where you can't get out. They take me to jail. They take me in. They go through my, check. I empty my pockets out, and they open the door, and they open this big locked door, and they put me in jail. I got one phone call. Can you imagine this call to my wife? Now it's about 11:30, quarter 12
Oh,
at
honey?
night on it.
Hey, babe.
First
Whatever.
question was not, what are
The
you
car-
wearing?
No, it was not. And I did say, no, my car has not been impounded,
This
but I
time.
am in jail.
I have been impounded.
She did, and she's like going all over the house trying to find $50. She might have gone to a neighbor. And by God, they put me in jail, and they put me in the trustee area.
Oh.
I think this was like Crescent Springs, Kentucky, in an old courthouse
They
building. It was
could
like
tell you were a
pre-Civil War.
well-mannered man.
Okay, but check this out. So they say if you want, till your wife gets here, you can sit on those steps. So I sit on the steps, and up above, I picture this big attic, and then I hear a guy, and I look up, and he's leaning over a banister, and he said, "Hey." Yeah, and he said, "What are you in for?" I said, "Speeding?" "I'm in for armed murder. Get your ass up here, boy." And I went, and I thought, this is going to be a great story. And I just went up. I
You
couldn't
did
wait.
go up.
Oh, hell yeah, I did. I thought this is going to be great.
How lonely were you?
I get up
Very,
there.
Very
Here's what I
lonely.
saw. There were like 10, 12 cages in this huge attic of this old courthouse building. That was their jail. So the cages had top cage, side cage, bottom cage, and each guy was in a cage. But there was one guy who was leaning over the railing. He was the trustee because he had been in there for a long time. So I get up there, and they're all like telling me what they had done. You know, I'm armed murder and this and that. And then they're saying, "Where are you from?" And I'm telling them, and they said, "Oh, hey, help me out. Call my girlfriend, tell her I'm in here." And so I'm telling the guy, "Give me the number," and I had to memorize everything. And the trustee guy would be the guy that would go turn the station on the TV show. And, you know, I hung out there for about probably an hour. And my wife didn't think this was a charming story, by the way.
No, because when the murderer asked, "Where are you from? Where do you live?" you gave your address.
And my wife's
Hell,
name
well,
is,
why, you had to be
and my
honest, I
social
said,
security
you know,
number
Be
is.
honest.
Gave him the street address. And so today when she came to bring me the keys,
Yeah.
that
What did
was
she
not
say?
fun. You had gone back into the hotel.
Well, I can't-
Hey,
I didn't
I was
wanna see
standing in the
this.
rain, pouring down
Yeah,
rain, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I
Pouring down
didn't
rain.
want to get a chill.
I know. The window without ever stopping and threw the keys at me. Whoa.
God
Okay.
bless her.
So I have to tell you, I truly thought that was all going to be a setup for a joke, and I was going to flip this table over and punch you right in the jugular.
Be on top of you, like, boom, boom.
Really, I was going to lose it.
And it was a true story. And by the way, you know, and speaking of cars,
Yeah.
my brother Jerry, you know my brother
yeah.
Jerry.
I do know Jerry
You know
Galvin.
my brother Jerry.
I know
Yeah.
Jerry Galvin, yeah.
He had his, I wonder if this has ever happened to anybody in this audience. He
Yeah.
had his driver's license lapse. Driver's license.
Oh.
Oh.
Really, really lapse. If it lapses over 6 months and you don't know it,
You got to retest.
You
and do everything.
retest.
Yeah.
they had him retake the test.
I don't know if I can
Yesterday, he got 8 out of 10. And the other two guys were fast and got out of the way.
There it is. There it is. That's the crappy joke I was waiting for. So was that all just a setup to get to the
To
story
get to
about Jerry?
that. Hey, one quick thing, because I want to call Catfish Williams in here, who's running for city council. My wife, you know this, I love my wife.
Yes.
Early on in our marriage, she had said to me, "You are not taking enough responsibility in this marriage." And I was probably guilty of that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pulling all the weight. We had just had a kid, my son Mitch. He's like 6 months old. So we go to the mall. I said, "I'm going to take responsibility." I got the car seat. I got the stroller. I got the diaper bag over my shoulder. We get to the mall, and then she goes all over my ass because my son was still back in his crib.
You miss one detail. You miss one detail.
Suck one, man. Y'all know that.
time.
You know, one time.
You can tell that guy to come. You can tell that older man to come in now.
The guy back there?
It's
Why?
the older guy with the hearing aid.
I see him back there.
I get
It's a
it.
gray-haired guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
No, well, because he can't hear. When I came in,
Oh, my
he's telling me. He says,
I'm
this
going to
new
quit.
hearing
I'm
aid."
just going to quit.
Really? He said what? Wait, he said what? I got
He's
what?
telling me, he's all proud. I got this new hearing aid.
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, what kind is it?" He said, 4 o'clock.
Nobody laugh.
Now,
Not
see,
one of
that
you.
was a test.
Matt Williams.
That was a test of this audience.
She laughed. That's 2.
And they've been here before.
I was going to say, no,
They've
she
been here
hasn't
before.
been here.
before.
She
Never
has
been
not
here before? All right, well, we'll allow for
No
it.
one else had an excuse to laugh at
You gotta
that.
stop laughing at that.
Thank you.
We're speaking of wives. My wife, God bless,
How is Mickey doing?
she's doing great.
Great, great.
Yeah.
And, well, it's, when we're intimate,
We're trying to picture what you're talking. What do you mean when you're intimate?
Well, you know,
mean when you're
even at 70-something, you know, we're still, yeah. And she still loves to talk during sex.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, last night she called me from Cleveland.
Did you hear that? That was a fail.
Yeah.
Fail.
It's going to be a bigger fail when I get home.
I know.
You want to see fail?
That's
I'll show you
ultimate fail.
Oh.
So in Ludlow, Matt Catfish
Yeah.
Williams is running for city council.
Yes.
First time.
Yes.
God bless Jerry Springer. I saw this with my own eyes. We came in tonight. Matt Catfish Williams owns the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky. You got to come here sometime.
For sure.
And so Jerry calls Matt up to the table where we're sitting to do the podcast, took out your checkbook, Jerry, and you wrote him a check, a wonderful check to help him fund his campaign. I think it funded the entire campaign.
He's got
Cat-
one sign.
I know.
I know, one
Catfish says, hey, I got something for Jerry. So, well, let's have him come in
What do you
here.
have?
He'll come on camera, come around this way.
Oh, this is
People on
fancy.
Facebook Live will be able to
surprise.
see him. And I'm going to describe what he's giving Jerry for those of you who can't see it.
For you,
Catfish,
little
right?
Richard,
Yes.
Oh, this is for your grandson,
Oh.
Richard.
when you go to Disney World or
Yeah, Disneyland. Yeah, we go out.
locally,
Yes.
maybe the Ark Encounter.
There we
Oh,
go.
the Ark.
The Creation Museum.
Oh.
The Ark Encounter Creation
Yeah.
Museum.
Well, I
Nice
was there
hat,
in the
Matt.
beginning. Yeah.
Told a little story a couple weeks ago, so we got him some matching shirts. Some rented mule shirts. Large and small.
That is great.
That is adorable.
Great. Oh, I'm serious. That is.
That is
Isn't
fantastic.
that cool? He
That
can,
was paid for by myself, not by
Not
Matt
through
Catfish.
campaign
because you
funding.
can't pay for that with
Yeah,
campaign.
separate.
We can't use the campaign money? Why? Maybe we'll get mules to vote for us. Yeah.
It's a
All
large
right, let's hear it for
constituency.
Catfish.
Thank
Hey, let me propose something to you, Jerry.
you. That really is.
So you got rented mule. Now let's recap real fast.
Yeah, very fast.
Oh,
I
this
got to
was
recap that
hysterical.
story. Richard is my grandson. He's 8 now, but he was about 6 years old when this happened. He's in kindergarten, and we always watch together Gunsmoke, you know, the old cowboy television show from 30, 40, 50 years ago. And we watch it, and while we watch it, you know, he's dressing up in his cowboy outfit, and we're watching, and then we start, you know, wrestling. He plays Matt Dillon, I'm Chester, and then we, you know, we're wrestling, and as we're wrestling, pillow fight and all that, I'm trying to think about some old cowboy expressions, and I say, my gosh, I'm gonna beat you like a rented mule. Well, he laughs. I don't know what that means, but he's laughing. 3 weeks later, I get an email from our daughter, Katie, his mother. She got a copy of an email that she got from his teacher in kindergarten. And she said, Dear Miss Yankin, I just wanted you to know that today Richard got into a argument with one of the students and told the student that he was going to beat him like a rented mule. I asked Richard where he heard that. Does he know what it means? And Richard said no. And he says, well, where did you hear it? And Richard said, well, my opa says it all the time. Thanks for throwing me under the bus. Then the email says, I explained to him that that is not even, quote, remotely appropriate. Not that it wasn't appropriate, but it wasn't even remotely appropriate. You can see the sides of her mouth going down. And that
Well,
sometimes...
I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast.
Oh, no.
Got a chance she does.
And then sometimes grown-ups say things that kids shouldn't, and that is very wrong to say. And I just thought you ought to know. Signed the teacher. I just thought you ought to know. Well, fine. So then Katie passes it on to me, Mickey, my wife. We're looking at it that night, you know, because I've been scolded. And Mickey says, you know, you really were wrong at 3 levels. Number one, what are you doing teaching him anything about fighting, beating? You should beat no one. She's right. Secondly, you got the animal lovers upset because he was beating a mule.
Fair enough.
And 3, You showed what a rich snob you are because it was a rented mule.
These are all valid points from your wife. These are all very valid.
So now we go to open school night, with the teachers just 2 weeks ago. And I'm sitting there, and all the teachers come up and explain what they're going to do in the school year this year. And we're lovely teachers. And all of a sudden, she gets up there and starts talking, and all of a sudden, I really had a tightness in my chest, like I was going to be scolded.
Yeah.
It was like you're a kid again in school. And I'm sitting there looking at the ground. And I'm going, I'm shaking back and forth, going, oh, no, I hope she doesn't mention this.
Don't call on me.
Don't call on me.
Don't call on me.
I didn't do the homework. I didn't do the homework.
And all I kept hearing Mickey sitting next to me going, uh-huh. 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 So you never forget.
But didn't he say
being
something
a kid in school.
Something at dinner? Yeah.
Now we're sitting around the dinner table. This is what he does now because he knows that was wrong. Every once in a while, this is true. He gets up from the dinner table, walks around the table, comes up to me, and he whispers in my ear. He says, Opa, rented mule.
Now
Thinking that's a curse word.
It's a bad word.
That's the
And he
perfect lead-in to him having that shirt.
I love
First
it.
of all,
I love it.
I will beg him. I will pay him money. Money means nothing to him because Jerry gives him all the money he wants. But I would give him anything to go to school wearing that T-shirt. Just rented mule. Right, Catfish? Just rented mule.
On April Fool's Day, and because she's not the teacher anymore because she teaches.
I'd have him walking
But
down
walk
her
into her
classroom,
classroom.
sort of lean in the doorway and, hi, Miss Jones, how you doing today?
How's it going?
Rented mule.
But
And-
at the teachers' meetings, at some point, they're probably saying, well, he's Jerry Springer.
What do you
What
expect?
can you expect?
I know. I told you. If that's the only thing that's come out of your grandson's mouth, you are doing all right, sir.
Right.
You're doing okay.
Hey, the next parent teacher open house, whatever they call
That
it,
is brilliant.
the two of you walk in wearing those. You and him.
I
Just walk
might.
in.
I don't
Rented
think
mule.
you're going to get Mickey to wear it.
I don't think so.
Could you be part of that conversation?
I'll
Why don't you broach the subject?
I'll try to talk her into it. Because it doesn't say beat the rented mule, so it doesn't offend anybody, PETA or anybody. It just says
No,
rented
Mickey would
mule.
turn to me and say, you want to see how we beat a rented mule?
Let me show you, Richard. This is how it's done.
Hey, and Megan, once again, and again, we don't judge this. We don't look down on it.
You say
but
that
you're
every
over there on that phone.
What is this going
What,
on?
and what she does, Jerry, is she's
set
on
dates
online
after the
dating
show?
services, and she's on right now during the show. She's on the clock with us.
You know.
Anybody responding?
Yeah.
Hey, let's just do something. Ask
let's
somebody,
just do
text somebody and say, hey, I'm on this show. Call now, and we'll put you on. And look, here's what we'll do. We'll just put the guy on speaker, hold it up to the mic, and we'll vet
You
him.
can talk.
Okay.
Will you do that?
I'm doing it right now.
He's doing it right now.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens, Jerry.
Who is this guy? Do you know?
No.
Yeah, he's on.
First name?
Is this a Bumble?
It's a Bumble.
Oh, you're doing Bumble
No,
now.
Bumble. Yeah.
Bumble is
Explain.
Tinder
The-
run by
the-
women.
Yes, the Tinder.
Much
run by
more women sensitive.
Yes, women
Yeah.
friendly.
Explain this to people who were born in the 20th century.
So the dating apps that are out there now. You have Tinder, which is one that's kind of known for being a hookup site, and it's kind of like
A hooker site?
hookup,
hookup.
site.
He doesn't know what that means. but
Doesn't know
keep
either
going.
one.
Keep going.
All of a sudden, I'm going, whoa.
So,
Because it was a hooker site.
Where's my phone?
oh dear God,
Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
And by the way,
I kid.
and by the way, the check didn't bounce from what I
I
understand. You know what I'm saying? No, it didn't bounce.
Could
Come
never
on.
have been reported if it was
It's
bounced,
bad enough
Gene.
as it is. That's what people say, oh, the check bounced. No, it didn't.
45 years ago. You can't forget.
It could never have been reported if the check was good.
Yes,
One
right.
bad night.
Why not? Hey, rented mule. Rented mule.
I just took on a whole new meaning. Jeez. old man.
Yeah, actually, it was rented.
Jerry, walk away, Jerry. Have the discipline to walk away. You gotta just walk away. What's he doing? What's he doing?
He's gonna kill himself. He's
Hey, let me
laughing
ask you
too
something. I mean, Megan's getting something. Let me ask you something. I'm just gonna open up my wallet. This is impromptu.
What?
I will prove it.
Oh, you got a lot in there.
I opened up, that's the cash I got
40
40
bucks.
bucks.
Yeah, so I guess I'm buying chili.
Well, yeah, what do you, hey, this is the difference. This is the difference between Jerry and Megan and me. Megan, what are you carrying
Oh, I
right
don't
now?
know.
What do you think you got?
I've got a debit card
Okay.
and a
What do you got?
$1.50 maybe.
What do you got? Take
I
it
don't know
full.
if I don't know if I mean, I have the number of my finance.
Yeah,
The number. I need money now. How do I get it?
You got a whole bunch of 50, 100. I got a couple $100. Now, we're not saying that so somebody waits outside the door here.
Yeah.
You know what?
Because I keep saying, I don't have any cash.
That was probably not a good idea of a bit, you know?
No.
Because it could be somebody waiting by my car.
Exactly.
I will immediately give them my 40 bucks, by the way.
That'll.
All right. Megan, what's going on?
I'm working, this
Is
is,
this guy calling?
I'm-
Okay.
She's worked. She just met this guy
just
2
met
minutes
this guy,
ago.
like-
Yeah.
like this
Well,
evening,
why
yeah.
do you think he's going to call in and think?
Because he's
gonna
already on a dating website. Like it's already, you're, yeah, I'm gonna be honest and everything. We'll see if he's interested.
Yeah, I think that sounds cool. If I, you know,
Yeah, that's when we'll find out.
hey, Jerry,
Yeah.
Trump win? That could be good for us.
Here's the only good thing about Trump winning. Think of the material we'll have for 4 years.
No, no.
Well, it
it's
wouldn't
not
be
worth it.
4 years. The country would be around for about a month or two.
You're saying
I think what we
good
should-
material in Canada is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, you heard what Canada is doing. I think I mentioned this. So many Americans want to move to Canada if Trump wins that Canada's going to build a wall now and make America pay.
Look at that.
You know, you tweeted the other night.
Yes.
Live tweeted during the debate. Well, I was to say our because I was thinking podcast, but it's your Twitter account. It's associated with the podcast, and trust me, it's really good for the podcast. Your followers are up to, I don't know, approaching 80,000 followers, which is a pretty good number because we started maybe last year, you had thousands.
Yeah.
But it's just
So there was,
exploded.
a lot responded to that. Because look, 80 million people were watching the debate, and the news picked it up because they're looking.
Hey, tell the tweet. The tweet was something
That was
like,
pretty cool.
Hillary belongs in the White House. Trump belongs on my show. That
Yeah.
was the.
that was a good tweet.
It was accurate, but Trump will never come on my show because he doesn't want his hair pulled. See, they always pull the wigs, and he won't do that, and won't.
He doesn't wear a wig. It's not like they're going to snatch his wig because he's not.
No, he lets his eyebrows grow long and combs them straight back.
It is a whole situation.
It's
It
a
is.
situation.
It is.
A situation.
A situation. That
I'm
hair is,
telling
that hair is
you.
rough.
Right.
Yeah, but of course, when most people are listening to this podcast, because most obviously don't listen to it live, the debate will already have been 2 weeks old, but it won't yet be their second debate.
Oh, okay.
So there still will be.
Oh, you're right.
And the first debate, the numbers are coming out now. It's, the polls clearly show that, which we saw when we were watching it, that Hillary won the debate. That doesn't mean you automatically win the presidency, but she won the debate decisively.
And by the way, today, this is really interesting. I watch a lot of Fox News, and I just like watching Fox News, and I'm so Democrat liberal. But I just like the stimulation of it. So I noticed on Fox News, Martha McCullum on the morning show, Kennedy, what's his name on the Fox and Friends? What's his name?
The guy, I don't know. I know what you
And
mean.
third, Hannity at night, Sean
Yeah.
Hannity, all day long on the day after the debate, touted all the polls that said that Trump crushed Hillary. And they listed them, and they had chyrons. Chyrons mean, all the verbiage on the screen.
This is how dishonest they are.
Get this. Their digital vice president of Fox News
Yeah.
put out a memo to everybody on Fox News and said, this is what a scientific poll is, and this is what a scientific poll isn't. And if you all go on the air and claim that these non-scientific polls, flash polls, garbage polls,
Those are polls where you
Just
do
call
online,
in.
but you can vote as many times as you want.
Right.
So you get your campaign workers to vote,
That's
and,
it.
and those are the only polls he won. But now go ahead.
and
finish
one
your thought.
Fox News guy said, the objective polls, there are now two,
Yeah, NBC came out today.
And CNN had one the other day, earlier
Yeah,
yesterday, and they both showed her pretty much crushing. It was the exact
Crushing.
opposite.
It was
and
53
he
to
said,
23.
"You are hurting." This was the interesting thing. You are hurting our brand at Fox News by claiming that polls, which are total BS,
Yeah.
are polls.
Yeah.
So he lambasted his own people
That's a great story.
for trying to pass on to America. And Donald Trump is the biggest freaking idiot of all because he goes around thinking he won the debate.
Oh, he knows
They
he
got to
did, yeah.
sit him down and say, "You jackwad, you got your ass kicked."
Yeah.
And if you don't accept that reality, how are we going to get you to prepare for the next debate? Anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And, you know, the big stories coming out today are also how they're going to get him to prepare because he doesn't want to. He's not comfortable. That's in that, you know, having to sit down and study things. He doesn't know anything about, you know, even if he's your best friend, he doesn't know anything about governments. He doesn't know anything about world affairs. He doesn't know anything about other countries and stuff like that. He just doesn't know it. You know, if you start talking to me about physics, you know, I'm not going to know it. He just doesn't know it. He has no business running for president. That's why so many of us get upset. But so they really have someone who is now emotionally out of control. I mean, that is the truth. You could see it physically happening during the debate because the first 20 minutes, he was very good. I didn't like what he was saying, but if you're just looking at his debate, those 20 minutes, I got to tell you, I was sitting there saying, "Oh boy, we got some problems." And then all of a sudden, he just ran out of steam. There was nothing else that he had memorized, and boom. And then she destroyed him for the last hour. And it was kind of sad. It was like, you know, she was just poking him. And every time there was debate, he went for it.
Well, in fact, roll into this, because
Yeah.
just stay on this, because at the end of the debate, he tried a very curious strategy that was unbelievable, and that is body shaming. He started fat shaming a person. And speak to that, and
Yeah.
also give a little historical background to that kind of campaigning, would you?
Yeah, thanks. Let me just take a moment here, and I'll wind up with that. But how did we get to what he finally did at the end, which is intriguing? The conventional wisdom is clearly that this is the filthiest campaign in memory, just the stuff they're talking about and everything. And that's the conventional wisdom. And everybody says that, and we just take it for granted. Well, the truth is that this is not the filthiest campaign, and in some cases, not even by a long shot. And filthy campaigns are a part of American history, as much as we'd rather not believe that. And it started with our founding fathers. Of course, George Washington ran unopposed, and he was the president by acclamation, and everyone was very happy with that. And he served 2 terms, and then one of the great decisions ever made, he decided we have to make the point that we're not going to have a monarchy here, having just got our independence from England. So therefore, he was stepping down, and he went back to his farm in Mount Vernon. And then his vice president, John Adams, becomes the president for 1 term. And now, the next election, as John Adams runs for re-election, is 1800. And that was the beginning of political parties. And it may have been one of the filthiest campaigns ever. The story that we don't learn in school. At that time, as under George Washington, you had John Adams, who was the vice president, and then you had Thomas Jefferson, who was the Secretary of State. But there was a debate starting to form, which has lasted for 240 years, about how strong the federal government should be, how strong the executive should be. So you had George Washington and John Adams, who believed in a strong federal government, and they were called the Federalists. They believed that there's no way to finance a land which was going to be so large, and with all these other countries still on the border, you know, Spain and France, et cetera, in terms of having interests here in the New World, that they needed a strong central government. So they were the Federalists. And then there was Thomas Jefferson, who was the beginning of what back then they called the Republicans, who ironically, by 1828 became the Democrats. But they, at that point, were called the Republicans. And he believed, and the Republicans believed, that we should not have a strong federal government. We should be an agrarian society, that to the extent the government exists, the Congress should be the power because it's closer to the people than an executive is. And an executive, if you give him too much power, will become a king. That was the background of the debate. So here you had the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Hamilton. But here's what the problem was. Because they all had tremendous egos, and they started to become aware that they had founded this country. And so now they were running. And their egos, like all other human beings in that kind of an environment, all of a sudden, they wanted to win. They could not lose. John Adams could not accept the fact that he would actually lose for re-election. And Thomas Jefferson, by gosh, I wrote the Declaration of Independence. How dare they? So they started the filthiest campaign ever. We complain now, for good reason, of Fox News. Back then, these guys bought newspapers. And they wrote the columns and then did it under an assumed name, gave it to someone else, and it was filthy. I mean, you know the story now with the musical. They go after Hamilton and talk about his affair with this married woman, Reynolds, and that he was corrupt, and he wanted to have strong banks because they were paying him off. And then they go after Jefferson, and Jefferson, you've been sleeping with one of your slaves, and Sally Hemings, and all. And the stuff, the words they would use, the F word, everything else, they were filthy campaigns then. And that has continued. You know, there were all kinds of things said about Lincoln, that he was African American, and not that, but back then they used that as a slant. He's not a white man, he can't be our president. So this filthy stuff has been going on. Now we come to our election today. Just wanted to give you that background of history. That, wait a second, this is not new to politics. Here's what's new about Trump. We have become used to it. The dirty tricks that were used with Nixon and calling people communists and Watergate and all that. The dirty tricks that have been going on subtly forever. But every single time in every election, the dirt and the filth and the dishonesty is one candidate against the other candidate, one party against the other party. With Trump, this is the first time that we've had a candidate for president that is using the dirt and the filth against the people. So he goes after, we've talked about it many times, the Hispanics, the African Americans, the Muslims, the disabled, etc. So he goes after these groups, and we've all heard it and what he's done. It's bigotry, racism, etc., clearly. But here's what happened at that debate, which takes it to a new level, and why I believe it's the first time he may have done something that he can't walk back. And the two things he did, we're used to him going after people, going after voters in a sense. But he's always going after people that aren't his voters or can't win the election for him. He does what dictators often do. When a dictator comes to power, a dictator always has to find a scapegoat. A dictator, you know, doesn't have the solution to the problem, because if there were solutions, then you wouldn't have the need for the dictator. The dictator comes to power because he says, we've got problems and I'll fix it. But you know, it's them, you know, those black people, those Hispanic people, those Jews, or those foreigners. Every dictator, you know, starts some problem overseas with other people, because you don't want to insult your own people, because then you won't come to power. So you always pick some group of a minority to say they're the problem, and that's what Trump was doing. So we even got used to that, and we said that is really filthy and that is awful, but he's not going to get black votes anyway. He's not going to get the Hispanic vote anyway. So even though it is horrible and immoral and we're all embarrassed and humiliated by it and angered by it, we still think that's not going to cost him the election, because those people weren't voting for him anyway. But Monday night, he screwed up, because in two instances, he went after the very people he needs to put him over the top. First, he went after middle-class people. When he said and kind of admitted that he doesn't pay federal taxes and, quote, that's smart,
Right.
whoa, that will be a television ad from here till you're walking to the polls. Because every hard-working American that has to figure out how to make ends meet, the middle class that he's after, you know, the white working-class male that's worries every April 15th, damn, I got to pay these taxes. We have to pay taxes, and he doesn't? And he's basically saying he's smart because he doesn't, so therefore if you pay taxes, you're dumb. Did you hear that, America? The would-be president of the United States is saying, if you pay your taxes, you're dumb. Whoa! You want to see a deficit? You want to see not being able to afford anything? Whatever programs you think are important, the military, anything, people will stop paying their taxes. The president told us we're dumb if we pay them. And he's made middle-class America look like fools because he's so rich and above it all, I don't have to pay. I'm smart, you little people. That was the one group. And here's the next group. And this may be the thing that really doesn't go away because it isn't about politics. When he did fat shaming, when he went after the Miss Universe and Rosie O'Donnell, and doubled down on it, that when he calls women pigs, and he called the Miss Universe winner an eating machine, Miss Piggy. Well, obviously, if you're a woman, secondly, if you're a man and you have a daughter, there isn't probably a human being, but certainly there is hardly a woman or a young girl who sometime in her life isn't concerned about her own body. There have been tons of studies done on that there's something about their body they don't like. So all of a sudden, people that don't even think of politics, if you start talking about some trade agreement we have, you know, they tune out. But when the president of the United States, or wants to be, starts picking on women or young girls, remember, she's a young girl at the time, and calling them Miss Piggy, an eating machine, look at you, you know, if that isn't offensive, cruel, mean-spirited, I mean, good Lord, what kind of a human being do you want as president of the United States? I don't think that goes away. And if he needs to win the election, the woman's vote of independent women, which he does, there are not enough males, white males, to win the election anymore. So therefore, you have to get, that's pure politics, you got to get women to vote for you at some percentage. But independent women are suddenly going to look at him and say, yep, you want him talking to your daughters? It's unbelievable. And I think just watching the reaction in these first couple of days to that, because that's not just on political shows. Who isn't going to have that discussion? Miss Piggy, eating machine? He's bullied. We keep saying he's a bully, but that's what teenage girls get bullied over on the social media. Hey, putting on those LBs, are you? You know, every young girl thinks about that and says, oh, man. And now you got the president. Just like he's given cover to racists in America, he's now giving cover to, you know, every ugly, and I mean ugly personality man who berates women for the way they look, wife beaters. Because what did he say about Rosie O'Donnell? Yeah, I said she was fat, but she deserves it. And people agree with me. Everyone agreed. That was the quote. Everyone agrees with me. She deserved it. Any man that beats a woman, you talk to prosecutors about this. They all say that the man inevitably says she deserved it. He hit her because she deserved it. May have been in a temper or whatever, but at the time, she deserved it. That is the mentality that we have to be dealing with. This man has no business being president of the United States.
I think it's really cool. Jerry does that stupid-ass TV show.
I know.
And then he does this stuff, too. This
I
is
know.
pretty cool. You know?
Stupid!
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Hey, Gene,
Oh.
we got him, by the way, if you want to talk to him.
Oh,
Have him call in. This is somebody, we don't know who it is. We'll give a fake name. What's his name?
name's Josh.
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 It's
Yep.
probably not his real name.
It's
We'll
probably
say
not
so.
his real name, but
Okay.
yeah, he's
Put
calling
him
right
on
now.
speaker.
I'm going to.
Oh, this is great.
Josh from Bumble or
From
Farm
Bumble,
Boy
yeah.
or
Josh from Bumble. Where is
J-Day
Bumble
or-
located?
Bum-
Oh, that's the
Okay.
yeah.
Here. So, hi, Josh. Can you hear it all?
Hey, you got it turned up all the way, the volume?
Turn it up all the way. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Say hi, Jerry. You've got a microphone.
Oh, so you can hear through the microphone. Hi, Josh. This is Jerry Springer, and I'm here with Gene Galvin. We're doing a podcast. And this is not a scam. We're not.
Hey, Jerry and Gene, how are you guys?
Hey, doing
Good.
great. So you want to date Megan? Is that true? You think? I mean,
we
you're
met
just,
on. We literally met like just a like a
I'm
couple.
not sure if I want to date her, but,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What?
Well, see,
What's he say?
He wants to learn.
the natural steps, right?
He said
Oh,
he
yeah.
wants to
Well,
learn
that's
more
smart.
about me. Yes.
Megan
Correct.
and Josh, good answer.
Hey, yeah. Well, let me just.
I like that.
And everyone in the audience who went to a nasty place with that, by the way.
That's good for you, Megan. That's
No.
good.
Well, that's
because
right.
I didn't, of course. But I mean,
That's right. But I wanted.
Better, you know, I mean, that's fair, right?
Absolutely.
I think it's
fair.
absolutely fair. And I want to say on her behalf that, first of all, I don't think she got a fair trial.
Right.
We're not on the jury yet.
We're not on Jerry's show
Yeah,
yet.
oh, that's right. Yeah. Come on out.
Hey, thanks, Josh, for coming on. Megan, listen, Megan thinks nothing of, and I know you don't do this at your day job, which we're not going to name the company, but she sits at our job and she just like texts back and forth.
You
and
told
works
me
it.
to.
Yeah,
It was direct.
Actually, I did.
It was direct.
Actually, I did.
direction.
I said, Megan, this will be a bit.
Oh, he's losing us. We're breaking up. A little
Okay.
bit.
All right.
Josh,
Megan,
you're a good sport.
All right.
Thanks
Josh.
a lot.
Thanks,
I'll
Josh.
text you later. Bye.
All right. All right.
Oh.
Hey, quick question.
Sure.
What kind of vibe did you get from him?
Well, in the 32 seconds that we talked,
Yeah.
he seemed decent. But no, we've been texting back and forth for a couple hours. He seems like a nice guy.
Okay.
Like, he got a tattoo today, so that was.
And that, okay, now.
Most guys in prison do.
Yeah, he got a tattoo this afternoon, so that was kind of funny.
And that's cool for you. I mean,
Right,
you
yeah,
don't
fine.
care. You're
Yeah.
not against tattoos or.
No.
No,
Oh, no.
no, not at all.
All right, next
Yeah, like
show,
Jerry
Megan,
Springer.
if you're willing, tell us. You know, like if you have a ring by then. Or 'cause
Yeah,
I,
let's find out what's going on.
I
Write
tell you
down
what,
the highlights.
I will keep it in mind.
I think you should have a ring before. Let's see, something happens. You should have a ring before he meets. Right after he meets your parents.
Okay, so nobody in 11 years has met my parents. So that is the God's honest truth.
True.
Yeah.
The God's
Megan,
honest truth.
That's true.
That's right,
That's
because your parents won't admit to you.
Well,
Oh, no,
she's not
she
ours.
Megan,
No,
your
no.
parents are really cool.
They
They
really
are. They're
really
fantastic
good
people.
They are.
But to
And-
get to that level, you got to go through a lot of nonsense before you get to meet
A
my
lot of
folks.
stuff. A lot of stuff. By the way, does the ring have to come before he meets your parents, or,
Holy,
or
we're-
maybe the same day?
You're like 20 years ahead of where I need to be, Mr. Galvin.
Yeah,
I need you
yeah.
to just put a
She's
pin in
lucky
that.
she
Yeah,
gets-
walk away is what
I know.
you're saying.
First of all, if we could call back and we're still talking at this time next week.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
gonna
worry about a
cons-
ring. She's like if she gets another ringtone.
Thank you, Jerry.
Oh, hey, that's
Thank you.
Why they call you
Joe. That's what I do.
There was one.
Megan? You're a good sport. Thanks for
Hey,
yeah,
Jane,
doing
no-
that. I
no
know that was
problem.
real.
Yeah, it was real.
All right, hey, this is exciting. We have the newbies, and we always get to come here and hear what's called a sound check before. These guys are really good.
Yes.
And so we're going to ask the newbies to do a song, then we're going to introduce them and hear about where you can hear more of their music. So here you are, ladies and gentlemen, the newbies.
Thanks, everybody. This is a tune called Dear Sarah. It's the ballad of Sullivan Ballou.
Very dear Sarah, I feel compelled to write the lines that you may read when I am gone. For our country calls me to the battlefield, and I am willing, not my will but thine, oh God, be done. If it is necessary that I should fall, then I am ready. Forgive me for my many faults and the pain I may have caused. Foolish I have often been, thoughtless again and Sarah, my love for you is deathless. The memories of our blissfulness come creeping over me and gratifying me. I thank God that we ever got to be. No misgivings for the cause in which I'm engaged. Sarah, do not mourn me, for we shall meet again. Hard for me to give you up and burn down hopes of future years. We would see our family grow. Destiny I'll never know. And when my last breath escapes me, and will whisper, Sarah, my soul will be your guiding light through your brightest day and darkest night. I'll be the strength when you are weak and the breeze upon your cheek. My love forever true, I will wait for you.
the Newbies and that first song, Dear Sarah, is actually adapted from a Civil War letter, correct?
Yeah, you know, we're all Ken Burns fans. We see everything that he does. Huge PBS guys. Ken Burns' documentary, The Civil War, the very first episode, he talks about Sullivan Ballou at the very end of the episode in the Battle of Bull Run, and right before he's ready to go off to the battle, he writes the greatest letter in the history of the world, the greatest love letter. And it was so touching that we were inspired to write a song about it. So I spent an entire summer, you know, putting the words together in a way that it would rhyme. And you know, every time you would get caught in a verse, you'd put your guitar down and go, I don't want to desecrate this. So you got to figure out a way to put it all
That's so
together.
cool.
Great story.
And that's Jeff Perholtz, and Misty is here as well, Misty Perholtz. And then, Alex, let me get your last name right. Lusht. Okay, we got it. So Alex, Misty, and Jeff. And by the way, you can hear their music, their latest album, for example, Modern Vintage, and their music can be heard at thenewbies.com,
N-E-W-B-E-E-S. Yes, and N-E-W-B-E-E-S.
And we talked about this another time, but this is an example of how versatile musicians are, because you guys do Beatles songs. You have a band that does Beatles covers, correct?
Right.
And made me think of something, Megan.
What's that, Gene?
When we were in Cuba
Yep.
as a podcast, I remember we were on the Malecon, which is the seawall in Havana. Thousands of people gather on this seawall for several miles, and Casey Campbell, our folk singer, was there, and he started. About every 20th person has a guitar. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Oh, it's
And
great.
people are just jamming up and down the line, and sometimes the song will draw other people in, and some others will come back to where the spot is. No one knew who Jerry Springer was, hardly anybody,
Which is
unless they
great.
were foreigners traveling.
I hated that.
So
It's the best part of the
Casey
trip.
Campbell starts to do some Beatles tunes.
Yeah.
And he did the song, I Saw Her Standing There.
Yeah.
And Jerry Springer stepped in and did it, and all these people gathered. No one knew that was some TV guy from America, but they were so surprised at how he was pulling it off that they really liked it. You remember that, Megan? It kind of
Absolutely.
looked like they knew who he
Oh, I
was.
remember it, you know. It was just...
When did you
Do
become?
a couple, just do a little chunk.
Count it.
Well, you can't do the whole song because it'll be illegal. Do a little chunk of it.
One,
Watch
two,
it.
three, four! Well, she was just 17, and you know what I mean. And the way she looked, she was way beyond compare. Oh, I'll never dance with another. And I saw her standing there.
There we go. All right.
I just remember the 1, 2, 3, 4.
You hurt yourself if you keep doing
You
that.
should have done the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, do your second song. It's called Nevermore, correct?
Yeah, this is on our album Modern Vintage, and this features Misty on lead vocals.
All right, the Newbies.
Close enough. Fate nevermore. Fate nevermore. The confines of belief bitter on my tongue, stain my teeth with the tales of dust, and my fate nevermore. Nevermore. fail nevermore. With a war burning on, with a roar through the glass I see the same. No longer away. No one hesitate to escape what rose from the land and now never more for a sign from you. And I wait nevermore for a sign from you.
That's the newbies. Go right away to the newbies.com
That
and
was
hear
incredible.
more of those guys. That was amazing.
Wow.
Take us out, please, on Irene Goodnight, and Jerry Springer will sing again. It's going to be unbelievable.
Wow, wait.
Do people know where to get my album?
Yeah, it's in my storage bin where I have to pay
Right,
like 70
Gene's
bucks a
garage.
month. Boxes of them.
You do
That's the
have
truth.
Yeah, he does.
I had to move them the other day. No, we're gonna start selling merch, and those will be out here pretty fast. No.
All right, thanks again,
The
guys, for
newbies
having
go
me.
on.
Oh, yeah,
Good
you
night,
got it.
Irene.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Well, last Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife, we are parting. I'm gonna take another stroll downtown. Everybody.
Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Jerry Springer.
Sometimes I live in the country, and sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I take a great notion to jump in that river and drown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. All right. You all come back now, you hear? Oh.
Filler, man. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, loved it. Loved it.
It's our great pleasure. Thank you.